1. We've got a real treat for you. A 1979 Chevrolet Corvette that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at just $12,500, and let me tell you, it's a steal. First off, let's talk about the exterior. This Vette is rocking a stunning dark blue paint job, code 83 to be exact. The seller mentions that it's a nice repaint to the original color, although there are some spider cracks on the front bumper. But hey, that just adds to the character, right? The body itself is said to be very straight, so no worries there. Moving on to the T-tops, they're in very good condition with new inner panels and rubber seals. You'll be cruising in style with those babies. Inside, you'll find an oyster interior that's in nice condition, complete with new carpet. It's a classic look that never goes out of style. Under the hood, we've got the original numbers-matching engine. The seller does mention that the AC compressor is missing, but otherwise, everything is there. Paired with that engine is the original numbers-matching 4-speed manual transmission, which is sure to give you that true sports car feel. The rear end is also original, and the undercarriage is said to be in good condition. Plus, the seller has receipts for a bunch of new parts, including tires, a MagnaFlow exhaust, front brake calipers, a shifter linkage, a master cylinder, a brake proportioning valve, front sway bar links, a power steering cylinder, a power steering control valve, and even a power steering rebuilt kit. They've also added new leather T-top covers and a lower valance. Now here's the really exciting part. This particular combo of dark blue paint and oyster interior with a 4-speed manual is one of just 5,670 made. And with only 48K original miles on the odometer, this Vette is a true time capsule. Overall, this 1979 Chevrolet Corvette is a fantastic find. It's got a clean title, low mileage, and a bunch of new parts. Plus, it's a rare combo that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. If you're in the market for a classic American sports car, this is definitely one to check out. Just don't wait too long because at this price, it won't be around for long. 2. I've got a real treat for you today. A 1977 Chevrolet Camaro that's up for sale on Craigslist. This Bumblebee beauty is priced at just $6,500, and while it's a project car, it's got a ton of potential. First things first, let's talk about the drivetrain. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 small block Chevy engine that's actually from a 68 Corvette. That's right, this baby's got some serious power, 400 horses to be exact. It's paired with a fairly new 350 turbo transmission and a posy rear end, so you know it's ready to hit the road. The seller has made some sweet upgrades to this Camaro too. It's got an MSD ignition controller, headers, a comp cam, and true dual exhaust with no cats or mufflers. In other words, this thing is loud and fast. The seller even says it drives smoother and straighter than their Jeep, which is saying something. Now let's talk about the exterior. The car is rocking a classic yellow paint job, which is fitting for a Bumblebee Camaro. It's sitting on some sweet American racing rims wrapped in BF Goodrich tires. The seller thinks the gear ratio is 308, but don't quote me on that. Of course, being a project car, there is some rust to contend with. The seller mentions that the frame is good, but the trunk pan and rear quarter panels need some work. But fear not. They've got 2 brand new quarter panels ready to go, and they're including a ton of extra parts, badges, and trim with the sale. Inside, the car is pretty basic, but that's to be expected with a project car. The seller doesn't mention anything specific about the interior, so you'll have to use your imagination there. Mechanically, the seller says this Camaro is very sound. They drove it daily to the gym last year when the weather was warm and had no problems. The brake system is fairly new, which is always a plus. The seller is only parting with this Camaro because they'll be away for most of the year and won't have time to do the bodywork and paint. But their loss is your gain. This car has a ton of potential, and with a little elbow grease, it could be a real showstopper. Overall, if you're looking for a classic Camaro project car with a ton of power and potential, this 1977 Bumblebee is definitely worth checking out. It's got a clean title, a strong drivetrain, and a bunch of extra parts to get you started. Plus, at just $6,500, it's a bargain for a car with this much character. Just be prepared to put in some work to get it looking as good as it runs. 3. Have I got a treat for you today? A 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396 convertible that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at $13,000, and while it's not perfect, it's got a lot of potential. First off, let's talk about the good stuff. This Chevelle is all original, with the original drivetrain, gearshift, and motor. That's right, you're getting a numbers-matching 396 big block under the hood. The car also has its original wheels and interior, including those sweet bucket seats. The seller mentions that the back seat is in good condition, which is always a plus. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the rust. The seller admits that there is some rust on the body, mainly on the front fenders, and a little surface rust around the car. But they also say that it's very minor, so it shouldn't be too much of a deal breaker. There are a few other things to note about this Chevelle. The shifter is a Hurst unit, which is not original to the car. Also, the inner fender on the driver's side is from a 71 or 72 Chevelle, not the original one. But overall, the seller says the car is solid and in good shape. One thing to keep in mind is that the convertible top is just the frame. There's no cloth on it anymore, and the frame will need a motor as it gets stuck going up and down. But hey, that's just part of the charm of owning a classic car, right? The seller seems pretty knowledgeable about the car's history, so if you're interested in learning more, they encourage you to reach out. And if you want to see the car in person, they're pretty much available anytime during the week. Overall, this 1970 Chevelle SS 396 convertible is a solid project car for someone who loves classic Chevys. It's got a clean title, a numbers-matching drivetrain, and a lot of original features. Sure, it needs some work, but what project car doesn't? And at $13,000, it's priced fairly for what you're getting. The seller is firm on the price and isn't interested in any trades. So if you're serious about taking this Chevelle home, you'll need to come with cash in hand. But trust me, it'll be worth it when you're cruising down the road in this classic American muscle car. 4. We've got a real beauty for you, a 1976 Pontiac Grand Prix that's up for sale on Craigslist. This gorgeous coupe is priced at $12,500 or best offer, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 400 V8 engine that's paired with a smooth shifting turbo 400 automatic transmission. This combo is known for its reliability and power, so you know this Grand Prix is ready to hit the road. But the real star of the show here is the condition of this car. The seller says that the paint, body, and interior are all in good shape, and I have to agree. The photos show a glossy, even finish on the exterior with no visible rust or damage, and the interior looks just as nice, with plush seats and a crack-free dash. Speaking of the interior, this Grand Prix is loaded with features that were cutting-edge back in '76. You've got power windows, a power seat, and a tilt wheel, all of which make cruising in this car a real pleasure. And with just over 94,000 miles on the odometer, this Grand Prix has plenty of life left in it. But don't just take my word for it. The seller says that this car runs and drives very smoothly, with a comfortable ride that's perfect for long drives. And with a clean title in hand, you can be sure that this Grand Prix is ready to go to a new home. Now, I know that $12,500 might seem like a lot for a classic car, but hear me out. The Grand Prix is a true icon of the 1970s, with its bold styling and luxurious features. And finding one in this condition is getting harder and harder these days. Plus, with the seller open to offers, you might be able to snag this beauty for even less. So if you're in the market for a classic American coupe that's ready to turn heads and provide years of driving enjoyment, this 1976 Pontiac Grand Prix is definitely worth checking out. Just imagine cruising down the highway in this bad boy with the wind in your hair and the rumble of that 400 V8 in your ears. It's the stuff that car dreams are made of, folks. In conclusion, this 1976 Pontiac Grand Prix is a true gem that's sure to make any classic car enthusiast weak in the knees. With its powerful engine, smooth ride, and excellent condition, it's the perfect car for weekend cruises or even daily driving. And at $12,500 or best offer, it's a bargain compared to some of the other classic coupes out there. So don't wait, give the seller a call and make this Grand Prix yours today. 5. Have I got a deal for you today? A 1976 Chevrolet Corvette that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic Stingray is priced at just $10,000 or best offer. And while it needs a little TLC, it's got a lot of potential. First off, let's talk about the good stuff. This Corvette has a fresh coat of Viper red paint that looks absolutely stunning. It's the kind of color that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And with just 61,000 miles on the odometer, this car has a lot of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This combo is perfect for cruising down the highway or tearing up the back roads. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll get that classic sports car feel that Corvette fans know and love. Now let's talk about the areas that need a little work. The seller mentions that the seats need to be reupholstered, which is a pretty common issue with older cars. But the good news is that everything else is in good shape, so you won't have to sink a ton of money into this Corvette to get it looking and running like new. The seller also notes that the exact mileage is unknown, but that there are less than 600 miles on the rebuild. This suggests that the engine has been recently overhauled, which is always a good sign when you're buying a classic car. Overall, this 1976 Corvette is a great opportunity for someone who loves classic sports cars and isn't afraid to put in a little work. With its fresh paint, low mileage, and rebuilt engine, it's got all the makings of a great project car. And at just $10,000 or best offer, it's a bargain compared to some of the other classic Corvettes out there. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before you buy. But if everything checks out, this Corvette could be the perfect addition to your garage. The seller encourages anyone with questions to give them a call or text, which is always a good sign. It shows that they're willing to be transparent about the car's condition and history. So if you're ready to take on a classic Corvette project and make this 1976 Stingray your own, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller. With a little elbow grease and some TLC, you could be cruising down the road in one of the most iconic sports cars ever made. And at this price, it's an opportunity that's too good to pass up. 6. We've got a real treat for you. A 1958 Chevy Impala that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A 58 Impala? That's got to be a real classic. And you'd be absolutely right. But before we get too excited, let's take a closer look at what we're working with here. The seller is asking $15,000 for this beauty, which might seem like a lot for a project car. And make no mistake, this Impala is definitely a project. The seller doesn't give us a whole lot of details, but they do mention that they're looking to get the best offer and won't be selling any parts separately. So, what does that mean for you? Well, it means that if you're looking for a turnkey classic that you can take out for a spin right away, this might not be the car for you. But if you're the kind of person who loves a good project, who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty and put in some serious work, then this 1958 Impala could be a real diamond in the rough. Just imagine the satisfaction of taking this classic from a rusty pile of parts to a gleaming, chrome-covered masterpiece. With a clean title and just 65,000 miles on the odometer, this Impala has got a lot of potential. And with a manual transmission, you know it'll be a blast to drive once you get it up and running. Now, I do want to be upfront with you. The seller doesn't give us a whole lot of information about the condition of this car. They don't mention anything about the engine, the interior, or the body. So it's possible that this Impala could need a lot of work. You might be looking at a full frame-off restoration, or maybe even sourcing some hard-to-find parts. But for the right person, that's all part of the fun. There's nothing quite like the feeling of bringing a classic car back to life, of taking something that's been neglected and forgotten, and turning it into a true work of art. So if you're up for the challenge, if you've got the skills and the passion to take on a project like this, then don't hesitate. Reach out to the seller, make them an offer, and see if you can't make this 1958 Chevy Impala your own. And if you do end up taking this beauty home, be sure to keep us updated on your progress. We'd love to see how you transform this classic from a project car to a true showstopper. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make an offer on this 1958 Chevy Impala. With a little bit of elbow grease and a whole lot of love, you could be the proud owner of a true piece of American automotive history. 7. Have I got a treat for you today? A stunning 1976 Pontiac Firebird that's up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty has been lovingly owned for 18 years, and now it's time for it to find a new home. And let me tell you, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car, this Firebird is definitely worth checking out. First off, let's talk about the specs. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 400 cubic inch V8 engine that's ready to roar. And with just 109,000 miles on the odometer, this Firebird has plenty of life left in it. The seller mentions that the maintenance has always been kept up, so you can rest assured that this car has been well taken care of. But the real selling point here is the condition of this Firebird. The seller describes it as being in great shape, and based on the photos, I have to agree. The paint looks glossy and vibrant, the chrome is shining, and the interior appears to be in excellent condition. This is the kind of car that you can take to shows and turn heads everywhere you go. Speaking of shows, the seller mentions that this Firebird is a beautiful car to drive or take to car shows. And I can definitely see why. With its classic lines, aggressive stance, and throaty exhaust note, this Firebird is the epitome of American muscle. Whether you're cruising down the highway or parked at a show, this car is sure to get plenty of attention. Now, I know that $15,000 might seem like a lot for a classic car, but hear me out. The Pontiac Firebird is one of the most iconic muscle cars of the 1970s, and finding one in this condition is getting harder and harder these days. Plus, with the seller having owned this car for 18 years, you know that it's been loved and cared for, and with no major issues or repairs needed, you can drive this Firebird home and start enjoying it right away. The seller does mention that they're only interested in serious inquiries, so if you're just looking to kick the tires, this might not be the car for you. But if you're a true classic car enthusiast who appreciates the beauty and power of American muscle, this Firebird is definitely worth a closer look. One thing to note, the seller prefers not to communicate via email, so if you're interested in the car, you'll want to give them a call or shoot them a text. They mention that they don't check their email often, so that's definitely the way to go if you want to get in touch. Overall, this 1976 Pontiac Firebird is a fantastic example of a classic American muscle car. With its powerful engine, gorgeous condition, and turnkey readiness, it's the perfect car for anyone who loves the style and performance of the 1970s. And while the price may be a little steep for some, the value of a car like this is only going to go up over time. So if you've got the means and the desire, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and make this Firebird yours. Trust me, you won't regret it. 8. Alright, let's dive a little deeper into this 1966 Buick Electra, shall we? First off, let's talk about the history of this iconic model. The Buick Electra was first introduced in 1959 and quickly became known for its luxurious features and spacious interior. In 1966, the Electra underwent a major redesign with a longer, wider body and a more powerful engine. This particular Electra is a testament to that redesign with its sleek lines and impressive performance. Now let's talk about the condition of this specific car. The seller mentions that it's been partially restored, which is a great sign. It means that someone has already put in the time and effort to bring this classic back to life. However, it's important to note that partially restored can mean a lot of things. It could be that the engine has been rebuilt, but the interior still needs some work, or maybe the exterior has been repainted, but the mechanical components need some attention. That being said, the fact that the seller is mentioning the restoration work at all is a good sign. It shows that they're being upfront about the condition of the car and not trying to hide anything. And with a price tag of just $6,500, this Electra is a steal compared to other classic cars on the market. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to do your due diligence. If possible, try to arrange a time to see the car in person and take it for a test drive. Bring along a mechanic friend if you have one, just to get a second opinion on the condition of the car. And don't be afraid to ask the seller plenty of questions about the car's history and any work that's been done. At the end of the day, owning a classic car like this 1966 Buick Electra is all about the joy of the ride. It's about turning heads as you cruise down the street, feeling the rumble of that powerful engine beneath you. It's about the satisfaction of knowing that you've brought a piece of automotive history back to life. So if you're ready to take on the challenge of owning a vintage car, this 1966 Buick Electra might just be the perfect choice. With its combination of style, power, and potential, it's sure to provide you with years of driving enjoyment. And who knows, you might just find yourself falling in love with the classic car lifestyle along the way. 9. We're talking about a 1972 Dodge Charger that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $13,500. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What's the catch? Well, let me give you the lowdown. First off, let's talk about the good stuff. This Charger is rocking a powerful 360 motor and a 727 transmission, so you know it's got some serious guts under the hood. Plus, the seller just put on brand new tires and rims, so it's ready to roll in style. But I do have to be honest with you. The seller does mention that the car runs and will move around yard. Now that could mean a lot of things. Maybe it's not quite road ready yet, or maybe it just needs a little TLC to get it up to speed. The good news is, the seller also mentions that there's a trunk full of parts included in the sale. So if you're handy with a wrench and don't mind putting in a little elbow grease, this could be a great project car. Now I know some of you might be a little wary of buying a car that needs work, but let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the satisfaction of bringing a classic like this back to life. Imagine cruising down the street in this bad boy, turning heads and leaving jaws on the floor. That's the kind of feeling that money can't buy. Plus, with a clean title in hand, you won't have to worry about any legal hassles down the road. And at just $13,500, this Charger is a steal compared to some of the other classic cars out there. So if you're ready to take on a project and make this 1972 Dodge Charger your own, don't hesitate. The seller says they need it gone, so you better act fast before someone else snatches it up. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of American muscle car history. And if you do end up taking this beauty home, make sure to give us an update on your progress. We'd love to see how you transform this Charger from a yard ornament to a road warrior. Who knows? Maybe we'll even feature your ride in one of our future videos. So, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make an offer on this 1972 Dodge Charger. With a little bit of work and a whole lot of love, you could be the proud owner of a true classic. Happy bidding, my friends. 10. We've got a 1969 Chevrolet Caprice up for grabs on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this thing is a real gem. First off, let's talk about that engine. Under the hood, you'll find a numbers-matching 350 small block paired with a turbo 350 transmission. That's right, this baby's got the original motor and transmission combo, and with 300 horsepower and 64cc heads, it's got some serious power behind it. Now, I do want to be upfront with you. The seller does mention that the motor could use a rebuild as it's got some blow-by. But hey, that just means you've got an opportunity to build it exactly how you want it. Imagine dropping in a crate motor and taking this thing out to the drag strip. The possibilities are endless, but the real kicker here is the body and frame. The seller says they're fantastic, and from the looks of it, I'd have to agree. This Caprice has got those classic lines that just scream muscle car, and with an odometer reading of just 860 miles, though the seller does note that it's rolled over, you know this thing hasn't been beaten to death. Now, the interior is a bit basic, as the old one apparently fell apart, but that just means you've got a blank canvas to work with. Imagine decking this thing out with some plush leather seats, a custom dashboard, and all the modern amenities you could want. The sky's the limit here, folks. And the best part? The seller's asking just $13,000 for this beauty. Now, I know that might seem like a lot for a car that needs some work, but trust me when I say that this is a steal. These classic Caprices are getting harder and harder to come by, and with the original motor and transmission still intact, you've got a real piece of automotive history on your hands. So if you're ready to take on a project and make this 1969 Chevrolet Caprice your own, don't hesitate. The seller's accepting cash offers, so it's time to break out that piggy bank and make your best bid. Who knows? You might just be the lucky one who gets to drive this classic home. And if you do end up taking the plunge, be sure to document your progress and share it with us. We'd love to see how you transform this Caprice from a diamond in the rough to a true showstopper. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make an offer on this 1969 Chevrolet Caprice. With a little bit of elbow grease and a whole lot of passion, you could be the proud owner of a true American classic. 11. We're talking about a 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V Cartier edition that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,000. And let me tell you, this thing is a real gem. First off, let's talk about that engine. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 460 cubic inch 7.5L V8 that's paired with a smooth shifting 3-speed automatic transmission. And according to the seller, this big block runs like a dream with no leaks or drips from the drivetrain or fuel system. But what really sets this Continental apart is its rarity and luxury features. This car is a true survivor, having been purchased new by the original owner at a dealer in Connecticut. It's spent its life in New Hampshire, where it's been sheltered from the harsh road salt and driven conservatively. And with just 92,876 miles on the odometer and no accidents, you know this thing has been well cared for. Inside, you'll find loads of luxury appointments throughout, including an optional sunroof and a classic stereo with an 8-track quadrasonic deck. Talk about retro cool. And with those plush leather seats and plenty of room to stretch out, you'll feel like royalty every time you slide behind the wheel. But the real kicker here is the exterior. This Continental is a real head-turner with its iconic 15 inches aluminum wheels and wide white wall tires. And those powered headlight covers that open and close smoothly? That's just the cherry on top. Now, I do want to be upfront with you. The seller does mention that the passenger seat switches need replacing. But don't let that deter you. The seat drive motors work just fine, it's just the switches that need some attention. And with everything else on this car in good working order, that's a small price to pay for such a rare and luxurious ride. So if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car with a big block V8 and plenty of style, this 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V Cartier Edition is the one for you. The seller is asking just $6,000, which is a steal for a car of this caliber. And with a clean title and registration included, you can drive this beauty home with confidence. But don't wait too long, because a deal like this won't last forever. The seller is requiring payment in full by a certified bank check or cash only, and all sales are final with no warranty offered or implied. So if you're ready to make this Continental your own, it's time to act fast. And if you do end up taking this beauty home, be sure to give us a shout and let us know how she runs. We'd love to feature your new ride in one of our upcoming videos. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make an offer on this 1978 Lincoln Continental Mark V Cartier Edition. With a little bit of TLC and a whole lot of style, you could be cruising the streets in one of the most iconic luxury cars of the 70s. 12. We've got a real classic up for grabs on Craigslist, a 1965 Ford Mustang. This iconic pony car is priced at $8,500, and while it may not be in perfect condition, it's still got a lot of potential for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the good stuff. This Mustang is rocking its original 289 motor, which is a definite plus for any classic car lover. The seller mentions that the engine runs, so that's a great starting point for anyone looking to take on a project car. And with a manual 3-speed transmission on the floor, you know this thing will be a blast to drive once it's fixed up. The body is painted in a classic red color, which is always a great choice for a Mustang. And while the seller describes the condition as fair, they also say it's in pretty good shape overall. So it sounds like this car has a solid foundation to work with. Now, I do want to be upfront about a couple of potential drawbacks. The odometer is showing 169,285 miles, which is definitely on the higher side for a classic car. And the seller also mentions that there's no title for the vehicle. That can make registration and insuring the car a bit tricky, so it's something to keep in mind. But here's the thing. This Mustang is looking for its forever home. And for the right person, those issues may not be a deal breaker. If you're handy with tools and have a passion for classic cars, this could be the perfect project to sink your teeth into. Imagine the satisfaction of bringing this beauty back to its former glory and cruising down the road in a piece of American muscle car history. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person before making a decision. Give it a thorough once-over, take it for a test drive if possible, and make sure you're comfortable with the overall condition of the car. But if you're up for a challenge and have always dreamed of owning a classic Mustang, this 1965 model could be the one for you. With a little bit of elbow grease and some TLC, you could have a real head-turner on your hands. And at $8,500, it's a relatively affordable entry point into the world of classic car ownership. So what do you say? Are you ready to make this Mustang your next project car? If so, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and arrange a time to go check it out in person. Who knows? You might just drive home in your very own piece of automotive history. And if you do end up taking the plunge, be sure to document your progress and share it with us. We'd love to see how you transform this classic Mustang from a diamond in the rough to a true showstopper. So there you have it, folks. A 1965 Ford Mustang with plenty of potential, priced to sell at $8,500. It may not be perfect, but for the right buyer, it could be the start of a beautiful journey. 13. We've got a real blast from the past up for grabs on Craigslist. A 1978 Dodge Magnum. This classic muscle car is priced at just $4,000, and while it may not be in perfect condition, it's got a lot of character and potential. First off, let's talk about the history of this particular Magnum. The seller has owned it since way back in 1983, which is a testament to its staying power. With 104,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this car has seen some action over the years, but it's still got plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 360 CID engine that's ready to roar. And with rear-wheel drive and an automatic transmission, this Magnum is built for cruising in style. Just imagine rolling down the street in this classic, turning heads and leaving a trail of envious onlookers in your wake. The exterior is painted in a rich brown color that's sure to stand out from the crowd. And inside, you'll find tan leather bucket seats that are just begging for you to sink into them. It's the perfect combination of vintage style and modern comfort. Now, I do want to be upfront about the condition of this Magnum. The seller describes it as fair and mentions that there is some minor rust. But here's the thing. A little bit of rust is to be expected on a classic car like this. It's all part of the charm. And with some elbow grease and TLC, it can be addressed. And here's the real kicker. The seller is including a ton of extra parts with the sale. They don't list them all out in the ad, but they mention that they're too numerous to detail. That means you'll have a head start on any repairs or upgrades you want to make to this Magnum. It's like getting a bonus prize with your purchase. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person before making a decision. Give it a thorough once-over, take it for a test drive if possible, and make sure you're comfortable with the overall condition of the car. But if you're a fan of classic muscle cars and have been dreaming of owning a piece of automotive history, this 1978 Dodge Magnum could be the perfect fit. With its powerful engine, vintage style, and bonus parts, it's got a lot to offer. And at just $4,000, or best offer, it's a relatively affordable way to get into the classic car game. So what do you say? Are you ready to make this Magnum your next project car? If so, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and arrange a time to go check it out in person. Who knows? You might just drive home in your very own piece of muscle car history. And if you do end up taking the plunge, be sure to document your progress and share it with us. We'd love to see how you transform this classic Magnum from a diamond in the rough to a true showstopper. So there you have it, folks. A 1978 Dodge Magnum with plenty of potential, priced to sell at just $4,000, or best offer. It may not be perfect, but for the right buyer, it could be the start of a beautiful journey. Happy bidding, my friends! 14. We've got a 1984 Ford Mustang GT up for grabs on Craigslist. And let me tell you, this thing is a real beauty. First off, let's talk about the mileage. With just 36,000 original miles on the odometer, this Mustang is practically a time capsule. And get this, the engine was rebuilt to performance specs at 36,000 miles, and it currently has only 1,445 miles on the rebuilt engine. That means you're getting a fresh, high-performance power plant that's barely been broken in. But the goodies don't stop there. This Mustang is loaded with upgrades and custom touches that make it stand out from the crowd. It's got a 4-speed short throw shifter for quick, precise shifts and headers, and a nitrous setup for some serious power. The custom paint job is sure to turn heads, and the Celine graphics add a touch of exclusivity. Inside, you'll find a comfortable gray cloth interior that's in great shape. And with tinted windows and a sunroof, you can cruise in style and comfort no matter the weather. Plus, it comes with a car cover to keep it looking pristine when it's parked. Now, I know what you might be thinking. With all these upgrades and custom touches, this Mustang must be a high-maintenance diva. But fear not. The seller has recently updated a ton of components, including the serpentine belt, caliper, fuel pump, plugs, oil and filter, water pump, thermostat, and lower radiator hose. They even did an engine and radiator flush to keep everything running smoothly. And here's the real kicker. The seller mentions that this Mustang needs a little work. But don't let that scare you off. They're upfront about it and willing to provide details to interested buyers. And with a car this cool and well-maintained, a little bit of work is just part of the fun. So if you're in the market for a classic Mustang that's been tastefully upgraded and lovingly maintained, this 1984 GT might just be the one for you. The seller is asking $9,800, which is a fair price for a car of this caliber. And with a clean title and a history of being garage kept, you can buy with confidence. Of course, as with any used car purchase, It's always a good idea to go check it out in person and get a feel for the car's overall condition. But based on the detailed description and the photos provided, this Mustang looks like a real gem. So what are you waiting for? If you've always dreamed of owning a classic Mustang with some serious performance chops, this might just be your chance. Give the seller a call, schedule a test drive, and get ready to fall in love with this 1984 Ford Mustang GT. And if you do end up bringing this beauty home, be sure to let us know. We'd love to feature it in one of our upcoming videos and share your Mustang story with the world. 15. We've got a real blast from the past. A 1955 Ford Thunderbird that's been around the block a few times, but still has plenty of charm and character. This classic convertible is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $15,000, and let me tell you, it's a real head-turner. Now, I've got to be straight with you. This T-Bird has seen better days. The seller admits it's got some rust underneath and a fair share of dents and dings on the body. But hey, that just adds to its rugged vintage appeal, right? And with a good-running 302 two-barrel engine and C4 automatic transmission, this baby still purrs like a kitten. The yellow exterior is sure to make you stand out from the crowd, and the brown removable hardtop with porthole windows is a nice touch. Just don't expect a soft top. This bird didn't come with one. The brown non-OEM interior is in decent shape, but could use some new carpet to really spruce things up. Under the hood, you'll find some reinforcements that hint at this T-Bird's drag racing past. It's got a 9 inches Ford rear end that means business. The exhaust exits out the rear bumper, just like it should, and the sound is music to any car lover's ears. Just watch out for a few pinholes in the pipes. One of the coolest features of this 55 Thunderbird is the set of real chrome spoke wheels wrapped in brand new 14 inches tires. They really set off the classic look of this ride. And don't worry about the missing piece of trim on the passenger side. It's included in the trunk, ready to be installed. The seller has been upfront about a few other minor issues, like the odometer being broken and some new window cranks and inside door handles that need to be put in. But overall, this bird starts, runs, drives, and stops just like it should. It may not be ready for any cross-country road trips just yet, but it's perfect for cruising around town and turning heads wherever you go. So if you're in the market for a classic piece of American automotive history with a bit of hot rod attitude, this 1955 Ford Thunderbird might just be the ride for you. Give the seller a shout and get ready to let this bird spread its wings. 16. Get ready to feast your eyes on this incredible 1984 Pontiac Firebird that just popped up on Craigslist. If you're looking for a classic piece of American muscle that's been cherished and well-maintained, this might just be your dream come true. First off, can we talk about the price? At just $8,900, this Firebird is an absolute steal. But don't let the low price fool you. This car is in fantastic condition. The seller proudly states that there are no dings, dents, rust, or bodywork to be found. That's right, this beauty is as straight as an arrow and has been stored during the winters to keep it looking its best. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar. And with just 84,000 original miles on the odometer, this Firebird has plenty of life left in it. The automatic transmission shifts smoothly, and the car runs and handles exactly as it should. You can tell that this Pontiac has been loved and cared for by its owner. The exterior of this Firebird is painted in a sleek gray that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And the best part? The underside is in excellent condition, a testament to the care and attention this car has received over the years. But the owner didn't stop there. They've made some smart upgrades to keep this Firebird running like a top. The tires and brakes are brand new, ensuring that you'll have plenty of stopping power when you need it. And if you've ever struggled with worn-out hood and rear hatch struts, you'll be happy to know that those have been replaced as well. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this incredible must have some hidden flaws, right? Well, I've scoured the seller's description, and I can honestly say that there's no mention of any issues or problems. This 1984 Pontiac Firebird seems to be the real deal. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have a trusted mechanic check it out before you buy. But based on what I'm seeing here, this Firebird is a rare find that's sure to make any Pontiac enthusiast weak in the knees. So if you've been dreaming of owning a piece of American muscle car history, don't sleep on this 1984 Pontiac Firebird. With its low mileage, excellent condition, and recent upgrades, this car is ready to hit the road and turn heads wherever you go. Give the seller a call and get ready to fall in love with this classic beauty. 17. Feast your eyes on this absolutely stunning 1983 Buick Riviera convertible that just hit Craigslist. If you're looking for a rare and luxurious drop top that's sure to turn heads, this might just be your dream come true. First things first, let's talk about how rare this car is. Buick only produced a mere 1,750 of these beauties back in the '83, so you know you're getting something truly special. And with just under 47,000 documented miles on the odometer, this Riviera is practically a time capsule. The seller mentions that this was a former estate car, which means it was likely cherished and well-maintained by its previous owner. And get this, there's a Carfax report dating all the way back to 1986, when the car had just 24,700 miles on it. That's the kind of documentation that classic car enthusiasts drool over. But enough about the history. Let's talk about the car itself. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to rumble. The seller says it runs great and is super reliable, so you can hop in and hit the road with confidence. And with a smooth, shifting automatic transmission, cruising in this Riviera is an absolute joy. Step inside, and you'll be greeted by an excellent original leather interior that's in fantastic shape. The white exterior paint is sure to make you the star of any car show or cruise night. And who doesn't love the feeling of the wind in their hair as they drive down the road in a classic convertible? Now, I know what you're thinking. A car this incredible must come with a hefty price tag. But get this, the seller is asking just $13,900 for this rare gem. When you consider the low mileage, the documentation, and the recent maintenance, which includes a tune-up, new tires, AC work, and 3 oil changes in the last 3,500 miles, that price starts to look like an absolute bargain. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to see it in person and have a trusted mechanic give it a once-over before you pull the trigger. But based on what I'm seeing here, this 1983 Buick Riviera convertible is a rare find that's sure to make any classic car enthusiast weak in the knees. So if you've been dreaming of cruising down the road in a luxurious and rare drop top, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Give the seller a call and get ready to fall in love with this stunning piece of American automotive history. 18. We've got a real treat for you. A 1984 Chrysler LeBaron convertible that's just begging for a new owner to give it some TLC. This classic drop top is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $2,500, and while it may need a little work, it's got tons of potential. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This LeBaron isn't in perfect condition. The seller admits that it needs a new fuel pump to get it up and running again. But here's the thing. Before it sat for a few months, this car ran and drove like a dream. That's right, the transmission is in great shape, and the body is straight as an arrow, with no dents or rust to be found. And can we talk about the interior for a second? The dash is in excellent condition, and the power convertible top works like a charm. Imagine cruising down the road with the wind in your hair, soaking up the sun in this classic beauty. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of. Under the hood, you'll find a gas engine that's ready to roar back to life with a little bit of love. And while the odometer shows 160,000 miles, that's just a testament to how well this LeBaron has been built. With proper maintenance and care, this car has plenty of life left in it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car that needs work can be a gamble. But the seller is being upfront about what this LeBaron needs, and they've even got a clean Georgia title in hand. That means you can buy with confidence, knowing that you're getting a solid car with a clear history. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have a trusted mechanic take a look before you make a decision. But based on what I'm seeing here, this 1984 Chrysler LeBaron convertible is a diamond in the rough that's just waiting for the right owner to come along and give it the attention it deserves. So if you're ready to take on a project car that's got tons of potential, don't sleep on this LeBaron. With a little bit of elbow grease and some spare parts, you could be cruising down the road in a classic convertible that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Give the seller a call and get ready to fall in love with this American classic. 19. Get ready to feast your eyes on this absolutely stunning 1977 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz that just popped up on Craigslist. If you're looking for a luxurious piece of American automotive history that's in incredible condition, this might just be your dream come true. First off, can we talk about the mileage? This Eldorado has a mere 49,405 miles on the odometer, which is absolutely mind-blowing for a car that's over 40 years old. It's clear that this beauty has been cherished and well-maintained by its previous owners, and it shows in every inch of its pristine condition. The exterior of this Cadillac is painted in a stunning shade of blue that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And the seller describes the condition as excellent, which is no exaggeration. The body lines are straight as an arrow, and there's no mention of any dents, dings, or rust to be found. It's like this Eldorado has been preserved in a time capsule, just waiting for the right owner to come along and appreciate its beauty. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 7.0-liter V8 engine that's ready to rumble. This power plant is the heart and soul of the Eldorado, delivering smooth, effortless acceleration and that signature Cadillac ride quality. And with front-wheel drive, this car is a breeze to handle, even in less than ideal weather conditions. Step inside, and you'll be greeted by an interior that's just as impressive as the exterior. The Biarritz trim level was the top-of-the-line option for the Eldorado in 1977, and it shows in every luxurious detail. From the plush leather seats to the wood grain accents, this car is a true testament to Cadillac's commitment to craftsmanship and quality. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this incredible must come with a hefty price tag. But get this, the seller is asking just $11,000 for this rare gem. When you consider the low mileage, the excellent condition, and the fact that this is a highly sought-after Biarritz model, that price starts to look like an absolute bargain. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have a trusted mechanic give it a once-over before you make a decision. But based on what I'm seeing here, this 1977 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz is a rare find that's sure to make any classic car collector weak in the knees. So if you've been dreaming of cruising down the road in a luxurious piece of American automotive history, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Give the seller a call and get ready to fall in love with this stunning Eldorado. 20. Get ready to step back in time with this incredible 1950 Studebaker Champion Starlight Coupe that just popped up on Craigslist. If you're looking for a piece of American automotive history that's sure to turn heads and start conversations wherever you go, this might just be your dream come true. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this beauty. The seller describes it as good, and based on the details they've provided, it's clear that this champion has been well loved and cared for over the years. The body is straight and solid with minimal rust, which is a real rarity for a car that's over 70 years old. And while the paint and interior have been updated at some point, the rest of the car is pretty much original, which is a testament to the quality and craftsmanship of Studebaker. Under the hood, you'll find a flathead 6-cylinder engine that's ready to purr. This power plant is the heart and soul of the champion, delivering reliable performance and that classic Studebaker sound. And with a 3-speed manual transmission with overdrive, you'll have full control over the driving experience. Just imagine cruising down the road, shifting gears and feeling the wind in your hair. It's the kind of experience that every classic car enthusiast dreams of. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this old must need a ton of work to get it roadworthy. But the seller has taken care of a lot of the major items for you. They've installed new brakes, a new generator, a voltage regulator, and a new battery. And while the wiring is still 6-volt, that's a small price to pay for the opportunity to own a piece of automotive history like this. Of course, as with any classic car, there are bound to be a few quirks and character traits that come with the territory. The odometer is broken, so the actual mileage is unknown, but based on the overall condition of the car, it's clear that it hasn't been driven into the ground. And with a Florida title and current registration and insurance, you can feel confident that this champion is ready to hit the road as soon as you are. So, what's the bottom line? The seller is asking $12,000 for this incredible 1950 Studebaker Champion Starlight Coupe, and in my opinion, that's a pretty fair price for a car of this caliber. Of course, they're also open to reasonable offers, so if you're serious about making this beauty yours, it never hurts to reach out and see if you can work out a deal. At the end of the day, this 1950 Studebaker Champion Starlight Coupe is a rare find that's sure to make any classic car enthusiast weak in the knees. With its timeless style, reliable performance, and well-maintained condition, this is the kind of car that you'll be proud to show off at any event or gathering. So if you've been dreaming of owning a piece of American automotive history, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Give the seller a call and get ready to fall in love with this incredible Studebaker champion.